Hello, I'm Ali Langdon. Welcome to A Current Affair. Dr. Lara Wieland is a long way from her home in Far North Queensland. She's in Ukraine with her husband Ron, volunteering her medical skills as she dodges the escalating daily attacks from across the border. The most recent, a Russian drone strike on a kindergarten in Kharkiv, which she captured for A Current Affair.
So we're just in the hotel room here. Thankfully, we have a pretty sort of thing. Listen to that. Crap, did you hear that? That hit close by. Ron, where are you? News has just come through on Telegram that a kindergarten was hit. We could hear the sirens going, the ambulances, and there's reports that children have been injured. So, and this is just another day in Ukraine. This is happening every day. This is literally like an hour after the kindergarten was hit in Kharkiv and the air raid sirens are going off again. Also, the community centre where I was going to be teaching family doctors in a couple of hours was also hit. The ever-expanding military cemetery just in one town. Thousands of flags and graves here, thousands of lives lost, and they're just expanding and building more. There's barely space to walk between them as far as the eye can see. So we just heard an explosion and you can see the smoke rising there. This is Andri's house.
Show Andri.
Yeah, Andri's driving us today. He's a volunteer. Yeah, this is his house. He did nothing to deserve this. That all had to be repaired, yeah. Pain here. This is their house, and the shell still left there. These kids have never had a skipping rope, so Ron's teaching them how to skip. Kiev was without power last night. Pretty much the whole capital city just went black, and they lost water as well. This is all a consequence of the Russian attacks. They're just really trying to make things miserable for Ukrainians this winter, trying to terrorise them. Just got notifications coming up that there are ballistic missile threats.
Lara Wieland joins me now. Lara, the war feels so far away until we see your videos. What is it like being on the ground?
Look, it's really intense, and every night that I've been here in Ukraine, I think bar one or two, and I've been here for 3 weeks, there's been a massive air raid alert, missile attacks and Shahed drone attacks. So those are very large unmanned aerial vehicles. They're not like the little drones you take photos with. And, really, I think people in other countries have no idea, because only the very sort of worst attacks maybe on the capital seem to get airtime.
Yeah, and is that something that is really frustrating, be there? I feel like that Gaza and Israel has been front and centre of everyone's mind for so long that it feels like this is the war that has been forgotten, which is why it is so important then to see your work and to hear what you're seeing over there.
Yes, I think only possibly 1% of what happens over here actually makes like the main international news. You know, they're not even covering the everyday things like people being hunted by FPV drones in the villages, the everyday suffering of Ukrainians, the massive refugee crisis, the daily evacuations that have to happen, all of that's being missed.
And look, Lara, this isn't your war. I know your grandfather was Ukrainian. Is that why you're there, risking your life?
No, I don't think that's the main motivation. Certainly it helps me build a bit more of a connection here. But, I've worked for decades in other areas of need, including in our remote Aboriginal communities. And for me, it's about, standing up for what's right. And really, there's no greater example of injustice that I can see at the moment than what Russia is doing to Ukraine. And it just seems like it's right to come and help the people who are standing up to them.
Yeah, and I know your husband Ron is with you. He's not a doctor, but could you do it without him?
No, absolutely not. I have been here without him before, but really the things we've been able to do this trip, I couldn't have done without his support. And he's been driving the vehicle, and it's made us so much more flexible having the vehicle, which we're now then going to leave with our NGO partners in Ukraine, and just I can do so much more because he's doing everything else. So yeah, couldn't do it without him.
And when you say doing so much more, what is it that you are actually doing? I know you ran a clinic yesterday.
Yeah, so really, I want to downplay what I'm doing because it's more about supporting what the amazing Ukrainians are doing. We've been doing mobile clinics, education, so training the doctors and upskilling the people who actually stay here every day and providing them some of our knowledge and support. Also, like going with some of the organisations that deliver aid to the remote villages and helping see some patients.
And what are some of the stories that you're hearing from patients? Because I imagine beyond any physical injuries, the psychological damage of being in a war zone for, we're coming on 4 years now.
Of the patients I saw yesterday, for example, 90% of them I had to refer for mental health support. Most of the women had a son who was on the front line. Some of them had lost family members who'd been killed. A number of them were refugees. Now, things are bad when your place of refuge is, somewhere where you're under nightly air raid alerts, but they've come from places like Kherson where, the Russians have destroyed everything, destroyed their homes, their farms, and right now are actually using the civilians there for drone hunting practice, and that's happened again in the last few days.
You know what? It brings it home when you see those graves, the fathers, the sons, the husbands lost in battle.
Yeah, and I think that gets forgotten. Sometimes we see someone in uniform and we lose our compassion for them. But people need to understand that the majority of people fighting here in Ukraine are just, fathers and brothers and teachers. Many people who never dreamed of fighting or wanted to fight are doing so. And you see those photos on the graves, and they really are just, people like you and me. It's just tragic.
Yeah. Are you angry about what you're seeing?
You need to be careful not to let your anger turn into hate, because otherwise you just become like those who are attacking Ukraine.
Yeah, and you know what? It was so scary seeing Russia test nuclear missiles overnight. I mean, is there a genuine fear that this war will escalate in that way, that the world isn't paying enough attention? Or is there a bit of hope that the US president will intervene as he did with the Middle East?
Look, I tend to try and avoid politics, but I really don't think that anybody here is relying on the US president. That certainly has been, great disappointment many times over. And in terms of Putin, testing nuclear missiles, everyone has different opinions on that. My opinion and that of many Ukrainians is that's probably just posturing. It's not in his interest to launch nuclear missiles, and I think it's just intimidation. I mean, he said he would take all of Ukraine in 3 days, and he's, spent 4 years and 1 million of his soldiers to struggle to maintain 19% of the country.
In your opinion, how does this end?
I don't think, peace negotiations are something that are really even an option. And I think that this war could be ended very quickly if everybody got together and imposed all the sanctions they possibly could. Russia's economy is really struggling at the moment. And they also provided Ukraine everything they needed to push Russia back. They have no intention of, invading Russia or killing people there. They just want them out of their country, to leave them in peace in their homes with their families. So, if the world got together and did all of those things, I think this war could actually be ended very quickly.
Lara, you're there for a couple more weeks. You've got to get back to Cairns, where you have patients waiting for you. But you run a charity, Only Passing Through, which is founded to provide humanitarian and medical supplies to those in Ukraine. Can I ask, when will you go back?
I hope to come back. But I think it's really important that I don't come back because I feel good or, about it or want to do it. It's really important that it's something that's helpful to our Ukrainian partners.
Look, just watching your videos, seeing that bomb drop on the kindergarten and seeing the firefighter holding that little kid and knowing you're so close to all of that, are you scared being there?
to me, I guess it's not important, whether you die or when you die. It's more important what you do with your life, and I don't want to have any regrets about that.
Lara, you are doing such important work. Can you and Ron please stay safe, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for the chance to share some of Ukraine's story.
Yeah, what an amazing human, and charity only passing through if you wish to support Lara's incredible work.